Hey folks, Dr. Alan Mandell here, and today I want to have a very real, very important conversation with you. If you've noticed that your legs just don't feel the way they used to, if climbing stairs leaves you winded, if your knees ache when you get up in the morning, if you feel unsteady on your feet, I want you to know something. That is not inevitable. That is not just aging. So many of my patients over the age of 60 come to me and say, "Doc, my legs are just giving out on me. I used to walk 2 miles a day. Now I can barely get to the mailbox." And here's what I tell them every single time. Your legs are not broken. They are hungry. That's right. The number one reason people lose leg strength as they get older is not because their muscles are worn out. It's because their body is not getting the specific nutrients it needs to maintain and rebuild muscle tissue. And today, I'm going to give you exactly that. The 6 most powerful foods you can start eating right now to strengthen your legs, reduce pain, and get back to moving the way you were meant to move. And I want you to stay with me all the way to food number 6, because that one is the most overlooked, the most underestimated, and honestly, for a lot of my patients, it has been the game changer. Let's get into it. Before we talk about the solution, I want to take just 2 minutes to explain the problem, because when you understand why this is happening, everything else makes so much more sense. Here's what's going on inside your body after the age of 60. First, you begin to lose muscle mass at a rate of about 1 to 2% every single year. This is called sarcopenia, and if nothing changes, that adds up fast. By your mid-70s, you could have lost 20 to 30% of the muscle you had in your 40s. And guess where that hits hardest? Your legs, the largest muscle groups in your body. Second, your body produces less testosterone and growth hormone, both of which are critical for muscle repair and synthesis. This means the muscle you do build breaks down faster and rebuilds more slowly. Third, and this is the one most people don't hear about, chronic inflammation increases with age. Low-grade, silent inflammation quietly attacks your muscle tissue, your joint cartilage, and your tendons. You may not feel it all at once, but over time, it is the reason your knees hurt, your legs feel heavy, and your recovery takes so much longer. Now, here is the good news. Every single one of these processes can be slowed down, countered, and even reversed through the right nutrition. Food is powerful medicine, and the 6 foods I'm about to share with you directly target every one of these root causes. I know what some of you are thinking. Dr. Mandell, red meat? Is that really good for me? And my answer is yes, absolutely yes, when you choose the right kind. Here is what you need to understand. Your muscles are made of protein, and to build and repair muscle, your body needs amino acids, the building blocks that come from dietary protein. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at processing protein. That means we actually need more protein, not less, to maintain the same amount of muscle mass. And grass-fed beef is one of the most complete, most bioavailable sources of protein on the planet. But here's the key ingredient inside that protein that makes it so powerful for your legs specifically: leucine. Leucine is an essential amino acid, and it is the master switch for muscle protein synthesis. It activates a pathway in your cells called mTOR. Think of it like the green light that tells your body, build muscle now. Grass-fed beef is loaded with it. Research consistently shows that adults over 60 need between 1.2 and 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day to maintain muscle mass. For most of my patients, that's somewhere between 80 and 110 grams of protein daily. Most are getting half of that. Now, I want to be very clear here. I'm not talking about processed deli meats, hot dogs, or fast food burgers. There's a massive difference between a 4-ounce serving of grass-fed sirloin and a pack of processed bologna. One is medicine, the other is not. Aim for 3 to 4 ounces of lean red meat 2 to 3 times per week. Pair it with some vegetables. Keep it simple. Your muscles will thank you. If there is one food that I would prescribe to every single one of my patients over 60, it would be wild-caught salmon. Here's why. Salmon is packed with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These are long-chain fatty acids that your body cannot make on its own. You have to get them from food. And what they do for your muscles and joints is nothing short of remarkable. Omega-3s are direct anti-inflammatories. They literally block the inflammatory pathways that damage your muscle tissue and erode your joint cartilage. Multiple clinical studies have shown that regular omega-3 consumption in older adults can reduce muscle wasting by up to 30% and actually increase the rate of muscle protein synthesis, meaning your muscles rebuild faster. But that's not all. Wild-caught salmon is also one of the best dietary sources of vitamin D. And vitamin D is absolutely critical for muscle function. In fact, when my patients have vitamin D deficiency, which is extremely common in older Americans, one of the first symptoms is muscle weakness and fatigue in the legs. It's almost textbook. There's one more compound I want to mention, astaxanthin. It's what gives salmon its beautiful pink color, and it is one of the most potent antioxidants found in nature. It protects your muscle cells from oxidative damage, basically the wear and tear that comes with movement and exercise. 2 to 3 servings of wild-caught salmon per week. Baked, grilled, steamed, any way you enjoy it. This single food addresses inflammation, muscle protein synthesis, and vitamin D all at once. You cannot beat that. I have been recommending eggs to my patients for decades, and for good reason. Now, I know some of you have been told to be careful with eggs because of cholesterol, and I want to address that directly, because the science here has evolved significantly. For healthy older adults, moderate egg consumption does not negatively impact heart disease risk, and the nutritional benefits are profound. Here's what a whole egg gives you. First, complete protein. Every essential amino acid your muscles need is in that egg, including, again, our friend leucine. 2 whole eggs give you about 12 grams of highly absorbable, complete protein. Second, vitamin D and vitamin K2, both concentrated in the yolk. K2 in particular is fascinating because it helps direct calcium into your bones rather than your arteries or your joints. This is critical for bone muscle health in older adults. And here's the mistake I see all the time. People throwing away the yolk, eating only egg whites. Folks, the yolk is where virtually all the nutrition lives. The vitamins, the healthy fats, the fat-soluble nutrients, they are all in the yolk. Eating just the white is like buying an apple and throwing away everything but the skin. 2 to 3 whole eggs per day is absolutely appropriate for most healthy adults over 60. Scrambled, poached, hard-boiled, or in an omelet with vegetables. Affordable, convenient, and incredibly powerful for leg strength. Now, here's the one that always surprises my patients. They expect me to talk about protein and vitamins, and then I tell them about blueberries and tart cherries, and they look at me like I've lost my mind. But the science on these two fruits is extraordinary. Both blueberries and tart cherries are loaded with anthocyanins, the deep blue and red pigments that give them their color. And anthocyanins are among the most powerful natural anti-inflammatories we know of. Here's what they do specifically for your legs. After any kind of physical movement, even walking, your muscles experience microdamage and inflammation. This is normal. But in older adults, the inflammatory response doesn't quiet down as quickly as it used to. That means more soreness, more stiffness, and slower recovery. Multiple studies on tart cherry juice have shown that it significantly reduces muscle soreness, decreases inflammation markers in the blood, and accelerates muscle recovery. In one well-known study, athletes who drank tart cherry juice experienced significantly less strength loss and muscle pain compared to those who didn't. Blueberries, on the other hand, have been shown to increase blood flow to the muscles, meaning more oxygen and nutrients are delivered to the tissue that needs it most. I like to tell my patients, think of these little berries as a natural ibuprofen, without the side effects on your stomach or kidneys. 1 cup of fresh or frozen blueberries per day is easy to achieve. Throw them in a smoothie, eat them with yogurt, or just grab a handful as a snack. For tart cherry juice, 8 ounces before bed is a great option. It also supports sleep quality, which is critical for muscle repair. I want to talk about 2 vegetables that are doing far more for your leg muscles than most people realize. Spinach and kale, and really any dark leafy greens, contain very high levels of dietary nitrates. Now, you may have heard of nitrates in a negative context with processed meats. Completely different thing. Dietary nitrates from vegetables are converted in your body into nitric oxide, a molecule that relaxes and widens your blood vessels, dramatically improving circulation. And better circulation means your leg muscles get more oxygen, more nutrients, and more efficient fuel delivery during any kind of movement. A fascinating study from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden found that participants who supplemented with dietary nitrates, the equivalent of what you'd get from leafy greens, experienced an 11% increase in muscle efficiency over just 3 months. Their legs were doing more work with less energy. That is remarkable. But nitrates are just the beginning. Spinach and kale are also exceptional sources of magnesium, and magnesium is the mineral most directly linked to muscle cramping. If you or someone you know suffers from nighttime leg cramps, low magnesium is almost certainly a factor. Regular intake of leafy greens can reduce cramping significantly. They also provide vitamin K, which, as we discussed, works with vitamin D to maintain bone density, giving your muscles a stronger structural foundation to work from. If there is one change you make to your diet this week, just one, I want it to be adding a generous handful of spinach somewhere in your day. In a smoothie, sautéed with olive oil and garlic, in a salad, or in your scrambled eggs. It takes 30 seconds, and the return on investment is enormous. And here we are, food number 6, the one I promised you would be the most overlooked, and I mean it. Lentils and chickpeas. I know, for a lot of my patients, these are side dish food, something you put in a soup, something on the menu at a Mediterranean restaurant, not something you think of as a muscle building powerhouse. But that is a mistake. Here's why legumes deserve a central place on your plate. First, protein. Lentils give you 18 grams of protein per cooked cup. Chickpeas give you 15 grams. These are plant-based proteins that, when combined with any animal protein during the day, create a complete amino acid profile, giving your muscles everything they need to rebuild. Second, legumes provide slow-release complex carbohydrates. This is something people over 60 desperately need and often miss. Your muscle cells run on glycogen, which comes from carbohydrates. The slow-release nature of legumes means you get steady, sustained energy throughout the day, rather than spikes and crashes. Your legs feel energized, not fatigued. Third, and this is the part that surprises most people, legumes are rich in magnesium and zinc. Zinc is a mineral that supports testosterone production and helps regulate growth hormone. Both of these hormones are essential for maintaining the muscle mass you have and building new muscle. As men and women age, zinc levels often decline, and with it, so does the hormonal support for muscle health. Here's how simple this can be. A bowl of lentil soup for lunch. Hummus with some carrot sticks as a snack. A chickpea and vegetable stir-fry for dinner. This is not complicated food. This is affordable, accessible, and extraordinarily effective. The reason this food gets overlooked is cultural habit. Most Americans in their 60s didn't grow up eating lentils regularly. But I'm asking you to give them a real chance, because the results, both in terms of energy and leg strength, can be remarkable within just a few weeks. All right, now I want to give you something practical, something you can actually take into your kitchen this week, because knowing what to eat is one thing, putting it all together is another. Here are 3 simple meal frameworks that combine multiple foods from our list. Breakfast: 2 or 3 whole eggs scrambled with a large handful of spinach, cooked in a little olive oil. On the side, a cup of blueberries. That's protein, vitamin D, K2, nitrates, magnesium, and anthocyanins, all before 9 in the morning. Lunch: a bowl of lentil soup, homemade or from a carton, with a side salad of kale drizzled with olive oil and lemon. Simple, filling, an incredible combination of plant protein, slow carbs, nitrates, and magnesium. Dinner: 4 ounces of baked wild-caught salmon with a side of sautéed spinach and roasted chickpeas. This single meal gives you omega-3s, vitamin D, complete protein, nitrates, and zinc, hitting virtually every mechanism we talked about today. Now, here is the most important thing I want you to take away from this section. Consistency beats perfection every time. You do not need to eat all 6 foods every single day. You do not need a perfect diet. What you need is to make these foods a regular, reliable part of your routine, week after week. That is where the real transformation happens. Small changes, repeated consistently, produce big results. All right, folks, let's bring it all together. We talked about 6 foods that directly target the root causes of leg weakness in adults over 60. Muscle loss, chronic inflammation, poor circulation, hormonal decline, and nutrient deficiency. Food number 1, grass-fed beef. Your muscle-building protein powerhouse, loaded with leucine to switch on muscle synthesis. Food number 2, wild-caught salmon. Your omega-3, vitamin D, and antioxidant triple threat, fighting inflammation and rebuilding muscle at the same time. Food number 3, whole eggs. Complete protein, vitamin D, K2, and please eat the yolk. Food number 4, blueberries and tart cherries. Nature's anti-inflammatory, reducing muscle soreness and increasing blood flow to your legs. Food number 5, spinach and kale. Dietary nitrates for muscle efficiency, magnesium for cramping, and vitamin K for bone health. Food number 6, lentils and chickpeas. The overlooked hero, plant protein, slow-release energy, zinc, and magnesium, all in one affordable package. Here's what I want you to hear before you close this video. You are not too old. Your body has an extraordinary capacity to respond, adapt, and heal at every age. Your legs are not done. Your muscles are not finished, but they need the right raw materials to do their job. Give them what they need, consistently, patiently, and with intention, and you will be surprised at how much your strength, your balance, and your confidence can come back. I have seen it happen in my office more times than I can count. Patients who came in struggling to walk down the driveway. 3 months later, they're back to gardening, back to playing with their grandkids, back to feeling like themselves. That can be you. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 6 foods are you adding to your plate first? I read every comment, and your experience might just inspire someone else. And if you know someone, a friend, a spouse, a parent, who is struggling with weak legs, who doesn't move as freely as they used to, please take 5 seconds and share this video with them. It could genuinely change the trajectory of their health. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourself, keep moving, and I'll see you in the next one.